So, good morning, everyone. My name is Sergeant Denarius Mitchell, and thank you for joining us for again of an episode of The More You Know with Sergeant Mitchell. Today, I have a young lady who was selected for one of our optometry school scholarships. There was only 5 in the nation, and she got one of those scholarships. So, ma'am, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Adriana Saenz. I'm currently a second lieutenant in the Air Force.
Awesome, awesome. What school do you currently attend, ma'am?
I go to UIW Rosenberg School of Optometry in San Antonio,
Awesome,
Texas.
awesome. So once again, ma'am, thank you for joining us on a Sunday morning. I greatly appreciate that. When I'm doing these podcast episodes, ma'am, I always like to ask people, what made you want to be an optometrist? You could have been a nurse, physician, PA, physical therapist. Why do you have a fascination with eyeballs? Please explain. I want to know. I want to know why.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't my first option. I actually didn't know about optometry until
Okay.
my junior year in high school. For our senior capstone project, we had to choose a career, do a presentation on it. I actually originally wanted to be a veterinarian.
Okay.
uh, yeah, but I decided, well, what better way to find out what I wanted to do than to shadow? So I did. I
Okay.
shadowed a bunch of professions. I did a doctor, dentistry, everything, almost PA.
While you
And
were in
the
high
one that
school?
in high school, yeah,
Okay.
and I
Wow. Okay.
continued in college as well, just to kind of confirm. And I love optometry. Like that was my favorite one out of all of them.
So
And
I
I
guess,
actually took a missionary
sorry.
trip.
So I guess what did you see during that shadowing to make you believe like, hey, I don't want to be a vet anymore. I want to completely switch my career options.
Yeah, so for optometry, I felt it was a nice balance of you get to serve people
Okay.
and then you have like this great relationship with like your optometrist. A lot of patients came in telling their optometrist, "Oh yeah, you remember my son was in this event," and the optometrist remembered, and it was just this great interaction. And like a lot of patients enjoyed going to their optometrist. And there was like the health side of it, and then there was like the glasses part. I thought it was great. You're not on call. It's very relaxed career, and once again, still in the health profession. And I like the eyes, so
Yes, ma'am.
it was yeah.
It's funny you said that how patients came in, they're extremely happy because every time I go to the doctor, I'm not in a good mood because I'm feeling like crap. When I go to the
Yeah.
optometrist, I'm like, hey, my new prescription, new glasses. I'm in a joyful mood. So it's funny that you said that. So okay, so we figured out you decided I no longer want to work with animals. I want to work with human eyeballs. So what led you down the path of the Air Force scholarship may be the best path for me?
Yeah, so it wasn't an easy decision to be honest. There's a lot of pros and cons, and like going into the military or staying in the civilian life.
Okay.
But personally, for me, I've always liked challenging myself. Like I like challenges. I like to set goals. Once I reach the goals, I want to continue making more goals. And with the military, I knew I can do that. And I've also like from a very young age, I've changed to different schools. I've lived in different countries. I lived in different
Okay.
cities. So I wanted to do something where I can do my career, so do optometry, and then also find something where I can continue challenging myself, where I can travel, and plus there's the perk of paying for my tuition.
Exactly. The biggest perk. Yes.
Exactly. So I found that in the military, and I liked it. So that's kind of where I went.
Okay. So, like we spoke about before, ma'am, I'm always looking for complete honesty. So, you told me a couple of minutes ago there were some cons that you had in your mind. So, can you please, tell us what you kind of thought would be a negative about joining the Air Force that you had completely wrong?
Yeah. So well, specifically for my first year of like optometry school, there was COVID that was involved.
Gotcha.
And then there was some military situations that was going on, like with the army, with like Vanessa Gillen, that
Gotcha.
happened.
Okay.
I'm Hispanic, I'm female. So for me, that was one of the concern that I had during the military because I
Yes,
had already
ma'am.
heard there was some problems in that arena. But I think God had a lot of mentors. I had an optometrist. I know an optometrist who's currently in the Air Force. So when everything was going on with that, I quickly messaged her and I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in joining the Air Force. What is your perspective on it?" She's a female optometrist. I was like, "Have
Okay.
you had any problems or situations in this? I want to eliminate any type of. I don't want discrimination. I don't want to go through that. I
Yes, I
don't want
understand that. Yes.
that. So, and I know once you're in the military, it's a contract. So,
Yes.
um, I spoke to her and she was like, nope, especially the Air Force. She was like, there's a lot of respect. We all respect each other. She has never heard of any bad situation, at least with her people. And she was like, that hasn't been a concern. And even after that happened, the people in her area quickly addressed it and
Yes.
tried to make
Okay.
sure that that was not going on. And if it was, they wanted people to come forward and feel free to do so. So that was one concern that I had. And of
Okay.
course, the contract part, some people don't want to be tied down.
Yes. Yes. No, I
And
get
so
that.
I think that's one thing that you want to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so for me, I wanted this, so I don't mind being in a contract because I
Gotcha.
hope to retire in this.
and
So
um and I'm glad, man, when you brought up the first thing with discrimination, I'm glad you had someone in your life that you could trust to give you an honest opinion, because I know sometimes people ask us those type of questions and they have the whole mindset, Sergeant Mitchell, whoever, you're going to say whatever you can to make sure that I sign on this dotted line. So I'm glad that you had those mentors that could speak to you. I'm like, no, this is how the Air Force is actually going down the path. If something does happen, that you can bring it up to your training command and they will act swiftly to make sure that nonsense is stopped. So I'm
exactly.
glad that you had her in your life.
Mhm.
The second thing, talking about the financial aspect of it. So I'm glad that you said that that shouldn't be the only reason that someone should join, because you do have to sign a contract. It is a 3-year obligation for people out there in Instagram, social media land. It is a 3-year obligation. So you have to join for different reasons besides, hey, just pay off my optometry school, which is a big perk, but they do have some additional duties that you have to take care of while you're in the Air Force, because you are joining as an officer. You have to pass your yearly physical fitness test. You do have to have training. So I guess what were the pros that made you think like, yes, it's just a financial aspect. I don't mind doing this yearly physical fitness test, because you'll be optometrist in the civilian world and be completely out of shape, but now you have to stay in shape. So I guess if you can speak on that.
Yeah, so actually that was one of the reasons I wanted to do the Air Force was the
Yes.
physical part of it. So I'm into fitness. I love fitness, everything about it. I lift weights. I like to run.
Always walking
I
your dog.
Yes, I'm always walking
So
my dog.
yes,
So I knew that would definitely keep me in shape. It would force me
yes.
to do so. So I liked that aspect. I
Okay.
also knew coming into optometry school, I actually wanted to do something to serve the men and women. So I
Gotcha.
already
Okay.
had I graduate, I wanted to maybe either work for few years in like the VA, or maybe find some type of way to do like discounts for men and women. And then I found out, well, I can actually serve.
Okay.
So why not do it?
Okay.
So that was another reason why I chose to do it. And also, like I said, I like taking on mentor roles. I like to like tutor and do leadership. And when I found out I can be a second lieutenant, and then once I graduate, I can become a captain, and then I can
Yes, ma'am.
continue growing. I thought that was an amazing opportunity. So
Okay.
that's another reason.
So now we kind of, figured out why you wanted the scholarship, but now why the Air Force? Because you had the Navy, you had the Army. Why the Air Force?
Yeah, so once again, I think I have a huge advantage with my school. So in San
Okay.
Antonio, there's a lot of military people, and a
Yes.
lot of my professors have served in the military. So I had professors who served in the Air Force as optometrists. I had professors who served in the Army. And I got to meet one time, not in my school, but in another optometry school, a professor who served in the Navy. So
Okay.
I literally got to listen to each and every one of them. And the one that I can relate to the most, and the one that I thought I had a lot of opportunities to continue growing and continue education, even once I'm in the military and serving, was the Air Force.
Thank you.
So that is why I chose.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So I'm glad that you, once again, you had people in your life that you can speak to, and I can also validate the Air Force is a top branch. So
Yeah.
thank you. So you applied. For people who don't know, she applied twice for the scholarship. Unfortunately, the first time around, you were not selected. Do you want to speak about that process, ma'am? What changed from the first time you submit your application, to the second? What did you change to, get yourself selected? Because we only have 5 scholarships for the entire nation, and you got one. So what did you change the second time around?
Yeah. So the first time I tried applying was spring semester of my first year.
Okay.
Um, I had a recruiter where we didn't have the best experience together.
Okay.
I feel this is a teamwork
Yes,
situation.
I agree.
Like,
Yes.
in order to get this done right, you need a good recruiter, good communication. And the first time around, unfortunately, I did not get that with my recruiter. I like things very organized. I like to turn things on time and work efficiently. But
Yes.
I like that same response back. And I unfortunately didn't get that with my first recruiter. And I also went through COVID. So for my application, it wasn't even complete when I submitted it. I didn't get to do MEPS. I think my application was one of the last ones that were turned in.
Hmm.
So I was already at a disadvantage for
Gotcha.
mine.
Yes, ma'am.
And yes,
So I'm
unfortunately,
So I'm glad to hear you talk about the teamwork aspect, ma'am. Because I always tell people I cannot be more motivated than you. If I give you 2 weeks to complete a form and I call you up, hey, where's the form? I don't have time. Okay, well, it shows me you're not motivated. I'm gonna go on to the next person who is getting me stuff on time. If they have a lower scores than you, if they're getting me everything on time, they're showing me that this actually means a lot. So I definitely get the whole, you're motivated to want to join the Air Force, and you feel like your recruiter's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I'll call you in 2 weeks to update you. Like, what's going on? Do you guys not need people? Do I need to go to the Army to get that love? Because I know they got like 15 to 20 people in their office. But with that, always be patient with your recruiter. With me, there's only one of me, and I'm in charge of everything in Southern Texas. So I always tell people I would try my best to get in contact with you within 3 to 5 business days. So the first time around, you were dealing with COVID, not the best customer service. So what did you change the second time with your application to make sure that no, the Air Force is going to select me?
Mhm. Well, first, I think being denied the first time was a good wake up call. 'Cause one, it made me realize for sure this is something I want, and I'm gonna work
Yes,
for it even harder the second time. But I knew that one of the pieces that I had to fix was my recruiter.
yes.
Uh, thank God I had the opportunity to find Sergeant Mitchell.
Thank you, thank you,
I
thank you.
was
Please,
grateful for him.
please.
Like I said, I think communication is key. And from the very
Yes,
moment I started working with Sergeant Mitchell, I let him know my schedule. I let him know
yes, you did.
this is this week, this is what's going on. I'm trying to get this through, but I may be a little delayed, or vice versa. I knew when he was busy and he
Mhm.
wasn't able to communicate right away. So we knew what was going on, and I really appreciated that because I wasn't questioning has he gotten what I sent him, like what's going
Yes,
on, what's the next step. No, I always knew what was going to happen afterwards, what I had to submit, when I had to submit it, and that helped me because once again I like things very scheduled.
yes,
So I fixed that, and another thing is get involved.
yes.
I did mentoring, I done tutoring, I also did research, missionary trips. They like to see that not only are you involved in, of course, joining the Air Force, but that
Hmm.
you're dedicated in your career. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to be serving with our profession, and they want good professionals.
Yes,
So I think
no.
that definitely helped.
Awesome. So I want to speak about that too, ma'am. Like you said, we both knew each other's schedules. I remember the first time I spoke to you, I was walking to my government vehicle, and you were like, "Hey, Sergeant Mitchell," and I was like, I love that enthusiasm because I hate when somebody calls me. I call them, I'm like, "Hey, this is Sergeant Mitchell." Hey, I'm like, Do you not want me to call you? You requested information. I can hang up and go call somebody else. So I love that enthusiasm. So if you're speaking with an Air Force recruiter, if you call them and they call you, please act like you're excited to speak with that person. Just don't act like, "Hey, yeah, I want to be an officer." Okay, well, okay, let me move on to somebody else. Now back to the application. The interview. I always tell people the interview can help you out a lot. So what did you feel like changed between the first interview or the second, or was it kind of the same?
I think for the second round, once again, I believe the first time I was unsteady about the
Okay.
like the military part. Yeah. So when I would answer, I wasn't fully for sure. I
Yes.
didn't do as much research as I would have liked for that interview. But then the second time, I definitely even my passion changed. Once again, I
Yes.
knew for sure the second round that I wanted this, and I really was gonna do great. And I did more investigation of
Yes.
the Air Force, of the opportunities that they offer, and so my answers were a lot more natural, and they were a lot
Yes.
more like firm, and they knew how passionate I was. And also my interviewer was amazing. So I think we
Yes.
connected very good.
Yes, man. I'm glad to hear you say about that because I know you told me before how you felt more comfortable. So I remember you asking me, "Hey, Sarah Mitchell, what do you think they may bring up?" And I told you, I've never heard an interview. These are things I think they may ask you. And you prepped, you studied the stuff, and you came in there. You were more relaxed and you were more comfortable. They could actually see you, not somebody who's like, I think this is why I want to join. I think this is the Air Force fitness standards. Like, no, you're one. Sorry. But you came out, you were confident, and there you go. And you got selected, man. And I was extremely happy when I seen your name pop up in the system. Like, no, she deserved this. I know she stayed motivated when she didn't have the best recruiter. She busted her butt traveling, mentoring, researching, and I'm glad that you have it. Next, the physical, ma'am. I always get questions from female applicants. What can we expect when I take the physical at the military entrance processing station? Can you kind of elaborate on that?
That's for MEPS, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So for MEPS, that was a fun experience. A lot of people are like, oh, it's so awkward. So they call it the
Yes.
underwear Olympics. So they do a
Yes.
whole physical. They check your vision, your hearing. A female doctor checks the women, males the men. So that was nice. And you're basically in your undergarments, and you have to do like, they're not very extreme. So you don't have to do push-ups. You just have to do
Yes.
different
Thank you.
physical movements that they can see, like, okay, this person can perform
Yes.
like physical demands. And you'll just have to do like duck squats or your squats, and like 5. It's not like you have to do like 20 of them.
Yes.
You want to make sure that you're capable of, being physically
Yes.
capable of doing everything. So it's not crazy. It's not intense. I thought it was actually pretty fun. A lot of people were like, "No, that was crazy. That was awkward." I was like, "It's not that bad."
I feel like it's only intense and awkward if you are not prepared for it. Like if you don't speak with your recruiter about what to expect, of course it's going to be awkward because you're thinking, oh, I may have to go do push-ups, and somebody's like, nope, underwear, let's check your blood, hearing, vision. Like, what is going on? I didn't know this was going to happen.
Exactly.
So let's see if you remember. What was the one thing I told you was the most important thing when you take the physical? Do not do this.
When you take the physical, do not do this.
It's okay if you don't know.
I don't remember.
Do not bring up anything new.
Oh,
yes. Do not bring up anything new when you take the physical.
Mm-hmm. Very true. That was one of the things they kept repeating to us. And then they would show you. Like if you do tell them something, they're like, we don't have this on your paperwork.
Thank you.
So yes, people, that was like one of the best advice ever.
So people, if you're watching this, do not bring up anything new that if you've already written something down, you cannot bring up anything new or they would disqualify you on the spot. Now, back to your school. So now you're selected for the HPSP scholarship. What is your obligations while you're in school? Are the Air Force sending you somewhere every day, every week? Are you able to focus on school? What's going on?
Yeah, so for Air Force specifically, thank God, I actually don't have any duties right now. All my focus is school, which is really nice because that was actually one of the concerns from my parents. When I told them I was going to the military, like, oh my gosh, you have to stop school and you're going to get behind. But nope, right now it's just purely focusing on my school. Of course, I still try to maintain my physical strength.
Of course.
I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
But everything begins once I graduate. As soon as I graduate, then I will go into officer training and then become a captain.
Awesome.
And that's where everything begins.
It's funny that you said about your parents. Every time you tell your parents, anyone tells their parents, I'm joining the Air Force. They automatically think we're going to give you a weapon. You jump out of helicopters, you kick it indoors. Like, no, you're joining the Air Force as an optometrist. Yes, you are in the military, but you're not on the front lines. We have specific career fields that go on the front lines. Special warfare, security forces, things of that nature. If we're putting optometrists on the front line, we already lost the war. So let's go that route. So I know you said you have no obligation while you're in school. So with this scholarship, ma'am, do you think you kind of have a leg up on classmates who are, coming out of pocket or who have taken out student loans? Because right now you don't have to worry about anything. The Air Force is covering your full tuition. We're giving you a monthly check. So do you feel like you're kind of less stressful? I know school is still going to be stressful. Does it kind of take away some of that stress?
Oh, extremely. Actually, that was one of the things my friends and I are always kind of, I guess it's kind of complaining about, is that we go in before a test and we prepared, we know, but behind, like in the back of your mind, you're like, you have to pass, you have a lot of tuition right now that you're paying, a lot of
Yes.
loans. Like there's a lot at stake. You have to do good. And even if you know you're prepared, there's still this extra pressure about it.
Yes.
But now the moment, so this is the first time I was able to deny my FAFSA. It was the best feeling ever. Like,
Yes.
it definitely helped a lot. I was gonna graduate with over $100,000 worth of debt, and
Yes.
now I don't have to worry about that. And I know I have a job after I graduate,
Yes.
so it's a huge relief off my shoulders, definitely.
I'm glad you brought the end, man. Like you have a guaranteed job because most people think when they go to these type of, optometry school, pharmacy school, whatever, they think like, oh, I just get $100,000, $200,000 in debt. I'm automatically just going to get a job. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Can you kind of speak about that?
Yeah, so that's actually a lot of concerns of people, like students. You don't really
Yes.
realize it once you're in it. You're like, oh wait, no, you actually have to find a job afterwards.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
and for me, I like to plan things ahead, and not knowing what I'm gonna do after graduation for me it was like it's scary. You do have a lot of debt. You have to start paying as soon as you graduate. So I know that now that I don't have as much debt that I have to pay off, and I have a job afterwards. Once again, that's another weight off my shoulders that I have to worry.
Exactly. So I guess I know we covered a lot today, man. What would you say to someone who's on the fence about applying for this scholarship? Because to apply, you have to complete at least one semester of optometry school and have at least a 3.0 GPA. So what would you say to somebody who's like, I'm thinking about doing this, but I'm kind of scared. The Air Force should be a last resort because that's how the civilian population normally thinks. We should be a last resort. You should apply for student loans. You should try to come out of pocket. Then if nothing else works, then apply for the Air Force.
Mm-hmm. I think once again, my big motto is you should definitely have the right intentions.
Yes.
Um, like the money is nice, it's a great incentive, but you want to do this for the right reasons.
Yes.
I definitely recommend, and that's why I told all my classmates who were even interested in it. I was like, one, find a mentor. That was my huge key. Like that was the big winner for me of why I chose this. I like to picture myself of where I'm gonna be, and if it doesn't picture right, I was like, I kind of want to go for it.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I like to hear other people's experiences, and that's what I got with my professors. I got a gist of what I'm expecting once I got in, and I liked it.
Okay.
And so that was a huge motivator. Of course, the help financially. You already know you're gonna be helped financial. I think that's a huge motivator. Getting
Yeah.
scholarships in graduate school is very difficult and extremely competitive. And for me, financially, I my parents are low income, so I have no help. I do have help from them, but not as much like paying for my tuition. So
Oh
I
yeah.
know getting the help from the Air Force is a huge deal for me personally. And then once again, serving. I think that's a huge part of it. I'm proud to be able to serve in the Air Force and be able to serve our men and women and also do my health profession. So if you have all the right intentions of doing it and you're passionate about it, do it now. Like,
Yes.
don't even question it. Try it. You won't lose anything. You can, first of all, get the experience. I think
Exactly.
if you don't like it, okay, do your 3 years. You can then go back to civilian life. But it's all about experience. I don't think you'll lose anything out of it. So.
And she's not getting paid for this. It's not a paid endorsement. This is her honest opinion. And I'm glad to hear you talk about at the end, ma'am, the 3 year obligation. It's only 3 years, like you just stated. If you don't like the Air Force, thank you, Air Force. You paid for my school, get out, and there you go. Open up your own practice to do whatever. You have a little bit less debt. It's the same thing as going to high school. You went to high school for 4 years, you went to college for 4 years, and you went to optometry for so many years. So just do the 3 year contract. And if you don't like it, get out. If you do like it, stay
Yeah.
in for 20 and retire. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any last minute parting words for anyone, ma'am? Anything that we didn't discuss that you would like to, bring up, something you wish you had known when you started the process?
I definitely recommend pick a good recruiter. If you're San Antonio, contact Sergeant Mitchell.
San Antonio,
Because
Houston, San Marcos, Corpus Christi, whatever.
exactly, yeah, because I think that's a huge player as well.
Hmm.
I know for the first time, I was questioning. a little bit. I
Yes.
was like, should I continue on? I didn't have a great experience. I was like, I was expecting someone very motivated, just like me. I was
Yes.
excited about this. I'm the first one in my family to join the military,
Mhm.
so it was all brand new for me. So that was a little bit of like a negative part, and I didn't like that. Once
Yes.
I worked with Sergeant Mitchell, it made everything a lot nicer, easier. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Definitely, I recommend finding a good recruiter. If the first one doesn't work out, keep searching.
Yes. Stay motivated. Do
Yes,
not let bad customer service ruin a future, a goal for you. Do not let that happen. But one thing we failed to mention, ma'am, you are the first at something. You gotta make sure to bring it up. At
I'm
your
the first.
school, your school?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yes.
So I am the first HPSP recipient of the Air Force at my university. So that
Damn,
was,
there you go.
yes.
You got to brag on yourself, ma'am. There was only 5 scholarships, and you got one of them, the first at your school. Ma'am, I really appreciate you joining us this Sunday morning, taking time out of your week. And I know you love to relax because school is so stressful for you guys, but I greatly appreciate it. And please, please keep us updated on your Air Force career. I want to know when you go to officer training school and how the monthly stipend is treating you. Just keep us updated.
I definitely will. Thank you, Sergeant Mitchell.
Thank you, ma'am, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.